Alright, so it's been a very long time since I've played GT Sport. I was kind of expecting GT7 to be out around this time, but apparently it's going to be out next year, from what I'm hearing. So today, as I'm back, I'm going to take the RX7, the Amemia, or however you say that. This is my favorite version of the RX7. I was never a big fan of pop-up headlights. I know a lot of people might be like, well, are you an idiot? Like, no, I prefer these lights on this car. I think these lights make the car look amazing. If they ever were to release another RX7, I really, truly hope they just grab this design, make some minor cosmetic things to match like the 2022, 2023, 2025, whenever it comes out. It'll probably be electric by the way things are going. But try to make the car look similar to this, very similar. And kind of forget the design language that nowadays, a lot of brands, what they do is they're going to use the design language that they use for other cars. That happened with the NSX. And even though I think the NSX is beautiful, the new one, I think if they kind of made it try to look like the older one, it would have sold a lot more. And they should have forgot the hybrid system, because that elevated the price of the car too much, and that's why it's not selling. Because for the amount of money that they're asking for that vehicle, you can get something else. Honestly, like I would take an R8 over it. I would even take a Huracan, and they cost similar prices. So that's a mistake on their end. Mazda, I think they're gonna, if they ever make an RX-7, they're probably gonna do the same mistake. They're gonna use the design language of the current cars, which is that big grille and all that. Where I think this would sell better. Toyota with the Supra didn't really copy, because Toyota, like, for some reason, all the cars are kind of different. Nothing really looks exactly the same or has the same design language, which in a way is good. And the Supra did that, even though I do think they could have done better with the Supra in terms of mimicking the older one. And I'll just start moving here, and if I slide out, I'll keep talking. But kind of what I feel is, with the Supra, there were some mistakes done. Oh, calm down, calm down. Oh my God. Oh, whoa, this kind of starts really aggressive. Wow, the force feedback is pretty insane. I haven't really tried the Fanatec CSL on GT Sport, so this is kind of new. I want to kind of see, what does my TC and stuff look like? Oh, it's at 0. Okay, that explains a lot. Yeah, let's go back to what I was saying. With the Supra, I feel like they should have tried to mimic the Mark IV instead of going all out with this new design. And there was no need to even use a BMW engine and chassis. You could have easily used the Lexus. You could have used the RCF body and just put a Supra kit on it, do some adjustments in terms of tuning and stuff, and you would have been good to go. That's how I kind of feel. Like, you didn't need a BMW, even though that's not a problem. BMWs are great anyway. I know a lot of people nitpick on that, but at the same time, it's like, well, it's not really a Toyota. And I just bought a Toyota, but it's not a sports car. I bought a daily driver. I bought a RAV4 hybrid just now, an XSE with the black rims and stuff. It looks great. It's actually pretty fast for the car that it is, and I'm pretty happy with it. They bought out my TLX that I had, and now it's going to be the RAV4. That's what I'm going to use. It's going to be practical for the snow, and as well for Drifterino by accident. It's going to be practical for the having the kid coming out pretty soon, less than a month, I'm guessing. It's going to be practical for that, and more spacious. It's all-wheel drive, and it is a hybrid. So I do, like many people, work far from my location of work. I work about 43 to 46 kilometers away from home, which is quite a stretch. And every day you put in like almost 100K, sometimes over. That adds up really quick. The TLX was a little thirsty, so I had to go with the hybrid. And you know what? I'm very happy with it so far. I'm really enjoying the vehicle. I've had it for it's going to be a month in a few days. Now I kind of wish GT Sport or Assetto Corsa had a RAV4, because I can't really take my RAV4 to the Nordschleife or any other track. So it would be cool. This Mazda RX7 is pretty damn amazing. I love it. Now, where I was going with that Supra conversation there is, instead of using the Z4 chassis and engine, and there we go, instead of using that, I feel like they should have used the RCF body and chassis. It would have been a bigger car. At least I think it's bigger. Jesus Christ. At least I think it's bigger, to be honest. And I think the Supra would even be more beautiful if it had a bigger body as well. Now, the thing that could mess that up is the wheelbase on the RCF might be the problem, because I think the front wheels are not as far, or like the hood is not as big, not as long, best word to describe it. And that may be the issue why they didn't do it. But I mean, to make so much money, they could have developed their own car anyway. But whatever, I wouldn't hold back if I had the money to even get a Supra, even if it's a BMW engine. I still really like it. I still think it looks really nice. When I picked up my RAV4, there was a yellow Supra right beside it, and I was like, wow. We spent half of the time the guy was showing me the gadgets of my RAV4. Half of the time was us discussing how beautiful that Supra was and how expensive it is. Because honestly, the other thing with the Supra is the price. For a similar price, you could get a V8 Camaro with better performance, or even the Corvette C8 with better performance as well. So I do think that the Supra is a little overpriced for what it is. You do have a 4-cylinder version, but really, is that what you want? You want to buy a Supra with 200-something horsepower? 219 horsepower, my RAV4 has that. So, why would I want to spend that kind of... Unless it's for the looks. If someone just wants to say, like, I got a Supra, because at the end of the day, even if it's a 4-cylinder, it is a Supra. It won't be the powerful one, but it's still a Supra. So, maybe that. I could see myself doing something like that, because I can't really take the car and race around or, you know, go too fast, because our speed limit is 100 here, which is ridiculous. Should be 120 at the very least. I don't know, you just can't really drive it fast, which sucks. But other than that, it's just sad that it's not selling that well, at least not here where I live. I don't see, I think I've seen 2 on the road, a silver one and a yellow one. And then I've seen 2 at the dealership where I got my RAV4. Yeah, that's pretty much it for what I've seen of Supras. I haven't seen many C8s. I did see a beautiful one a couple of days ago. It had gold rims. It was red with gold rims, and the roof was painted black. So it was really nice. Really, really nice. I like the Camaro too, the ZL1, but I haven't seen any of those at all. I'm going to finish this lap, and then I'm going to try to do a clean lap. But for that, I'm going to have to talk less. So now getting back to what I need to talk about is this RX7. I feel like they should make an RX7 at some point. But they should ignore the design language of the future, the current design language, and go with a retro style. Specifically the 90s RX7 style, not like the 80s one. Kind of grab this and grab this specific model without the pop-up headlights, because you can't even put pop-up headlights anyway nowadays. Go with this style and just apply minor changes that will make it fit into current day cars. You know, LED lights. The rear of this car, you could keep like the frame of the lights the same, but just make a light bar, because that's trending right now. Make it into a light bar. It can even stay black like this, and just when it lights up, it turns red with the lights. So there's a lot you could do. You know, black rims or whatever people want. Keep the design similar. The mirrors, I don't think they would be allowed to put the mirrors where this car has them, up there on the hood. At least I don't think they can. But that's something that that's for the developers and the engineers to figure out. Alright, let's try to do a proper lap here. Watch me spin out right away. So I have no TC. You guys already knew that. The other thing is I do have my screen quite low. I want it to line up so that the dashboard and the gauge cluster feels realistic. So the way I have the wheel lined up, it's like fitting right into the gauge cluster there. The problem is GT has the gear number right below my CSL wheelbase thing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This thing likes to drift. Kind of braked a bit too late. I don't think I got out of the track, so my time is still good, I think. I just want to see what kind of time I can do with this car. This thing has 6 gears. And that's the thing. The other thing I keep forgetting is my wheel does display which gear I go into, but just briefly. So now I know I'm in 6, but I really got to look at the wheel up here if I want to see that. I can't see the speed. Oh, yeah, it tells me the speed. So 273. Hopefully this is kilometers per hour, because that's what I have set on the game. Drifterino, kinda. I'm a bad drifter, by the way. Very, very bad. I don't even have a handbrake for this anyway. Or a manual shifter, because this car has a manual shifter. But yeah, like I feel like they should definitely re-release an RX7. I did consider getting a Mazda too, because they have the CX-30, they have the CX-5, and you know they're nice and they're not expensive. But then I saw the RAV4 and I just like, you know, that fuel consumption, fuel economy, to be more correct in the way that you say it. The fuel economy plus the look of it, the XSE with the black trims and stuff, the piano black and black rims and black roof as well. I think you can't go wrong with that. I think it looks a lot better than just the regular RAV4. In terms of power, the gas version I believe has 203 horsepower. Mine, the hybrid, has 219. So it's a little improvement there. Nothing crazy, but you can really feel when that thing takes off. It is pretty fast. Like, it takes off really, really fast. And it drives really well. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, no. Oh, it came to a complete stop right there. Oh, and then it just reset. I might have to do another lap after, because this was obviously not a clean lap. Where was I? I was talking about the RAM. Yeah. It drives well. It's comfortable. It has pretty much the same gadgets my Acura TLX A-Spec had. Pretty much everything the same. It's not quite as luxurious, but you can expect that already. Acura is considered a luxury brand. Even though that TLX had a couple of things that I didn't like. For the most part, I love the car, but a couple of things I didn't like was the dashboard was still that soft rubber. This Toyota has that, but it also has a little bit of contrast stitching on the dashboard. It's not real leather, but it looks like leather. So it does look really well, really good. I mean, it also has contrast stitching on the seats. The right passenger seat is manual, so you can adjust it. The TLX had electronic, everything electronic. You had settings that you could save. You could save up to 2 for the driver and another person. So that was great. And then overall, I think the TLX is faster. It's hard to tell. Taking off. I believe the RAV4 might be faster taking off, but then top speed, for sure the TLX is faster. Even though the TLX had less horsepower by a little bit, because mine was the 4-cylinder, not the V6. It had less horsepower, but it was really low. The car was a really low ride, and it felt really planted to the ground. It wasn't even an all-wheel drive version. It was just front-wheel drive. I really enjoyed the car, but due to fuel economy, I just had to change. And I am happy with the change. And for the most part, I think it's been great. And I can see myself keeping this car. The plan is to keep it. And once it's paid off, I have like a backup car, because eventually I'll get something else. And hopefully I drive better than this when I get it. The whole plan is to keep this car and get a sports car at some point. But COVID's really making life miserable right now. Not just for me, for pretty much everyone. Or everyone that's not rich. Because, you know, like millionaires and stuff are probably still doing fine, but the middle class is, middle class and poor people are getting shafted, at least here in Canada. The government's really making things tough for us by closing everything down. You know, people are living on tiny checks. There's some people that aren't even working, getting more money than us that are working. I haven't been laid off at all this whole time, and some of my checks were below $1,000. There's people off getting CRB for more than $1,000, which is sad. On top of that, I just feel like the numbers of COVID don't really justify, at least the last few months, what's happening. I feel like we should be opening up by now. The vaccination program has been a total failure in Canada. Only now numbers are starting to pick up, and at the end of the day, they'll start to pick up, and then people will be like, see, the government did good. It's like, yeah, the U.S. has, I saw 200 million people in the U.S. have the first phase, and 20% are fully vaccinated, while we were at 2.5% totally vaccinated, and just about like 9 million Canadians with the first phase, or the first vaccine, which is ridiculous. For Canada, we're supposed to be up there at the top with the US and other countries. So that kind of tells you what our government is. It's garbage, in my opinion. But you know what? I'm a positive thinker. Better days will come. I just hope this doesn't last too long, because like myself and others, we got to start dipping into our savings. And when you start dipping at your savings, you eventually waste all your savings. And then once you waste all your savings, you start going into your line of credits and credit cards. And then you get into that. And next thing you know, you're dead broke. And you start losing houses, start losing your cars. You start, you know, your kids won't get the proper food, the proper treatment, lifestyle, education. So people really got to start standing up and smarten up about all these things that are going on. Like, I feel like we're going in a downward spiral in Canada. Like, we're going to be paying for, you know, all the free money this government's been giving. And they're very incompetent. And it's even more incompetent for people to believe that that money is free when it isn't. That money is not free. You're going to pay for it. How did I end up on this when I was talking about cars? It's just, I don't know, it just kind of, it's so engraved into my days now that it just, you know, it's hard to not think about the problems that this is causing to our society and people, you know. I saw a whole department where I used to work get outsourced, and only a handful of us got to stay with the company. I luckily was one of them, so I'm thankful for that. But it was sad to see so many good people, so many good agents lose their jobs. And a lot of them went to a different company to do pretty much the same job. Others straight out just took the payout and kind of left and are doing their own thing right now. But you know what? If COVID didn't happen, all of us would be there, most likely happy, doing well, you know, surviving. Things will get back to normal at some point, but who knows when. I just hope it doesn't take much longer. Going into a year and a half already of COVID measures, it's pretty sad. Pretty stressful. You don't have a social life anymore. You can't go see your friends or have them over. Can't do anything. The income part, like I said, is garbage. Okay, so far, this lap is going okay. So with crappy laps, I did 7:19. I do feel like my mistake a couple of times was downshifting too much, and the car tends to spin if I downshift to second gear at low speeds. Right now I'll go with the fourth gear. I gotta brake nice and early here because this car, the brakes aren't amazing. So if the Mazda engineers see this, please make an RX7, but make it similar to this model, because this is the nicest looking one. Plus, if people wanted the pop-out headlights, they can't get it anymore anyway because it's illegal. Or not illegal, but not allowed to make. You can still drive a car that has pop-up headlights if you buy one. You just can't get any new cars with that. There I go with the same mistake going down to second gear there. Car likes to spin in second gear. Let's see, on every single sector I've been doing better than before. This car does not grip as well. Actually, it's not the grip that I mean. It's just very twitchy in terms of steering. But the force feedback on GT Sport is pretty amazing with this Fanatic wheel. Too bad the V3 pedals are not vibrating, so it doesn't have that that built into the game. ACC so far is the only game, or only sim I would say, that has that built in. Like, I actually have the rumble feature on ACC. And just about half an hour ago I won a race online, so on ACC, so I'm pretty happy with that. It was a hell of a race. I really enjoyed it. The guy that was in first almost till the end, unfortunately had a crash in the end where some guy must have slipped out of the track, and when he was getting in or waiting there, the guy that was in first, just slightly above me, he actually passed me earlier. He was a pretty good driver. The other guy was in the middle of the track, and he, like, I guess he couldn't avoid contact and eventually smashed into him, and I luckily got away from that, and I was able to pass and finish the race in first. Now, speaking of that guy that finished second, it was a pretty good race, so whoever was in first for the longest time, he was quite a bit far. I don't know if he crashed and quit, because all of a sudden, I was first. And then this guy came from behind. He had a Aston Martin Vantage, and he just kept coming and coming until he finally passed me. Actually, before he passed me legally, I would say, he did bump into me, but it was an accident on one of the curves. So he right away, kind of on the straight, kind of slowed down so I would pass him. And then 2 laps in a row, I believe. I will upload that video before this one, so you may see that before or go back to it to watch it. A couple of laps, I did brake a little late and ended up cutting a corner. So on the first one, I did that, and I kind of felt bad. It happens, right? Brake late. But then it happened again, and I kind of felt, nah, let the guy pass. So I let the guy pass because he did his curves nice and clean. So that guy that ended up in second, I let him pass that one time. I thought it would be fair since I cut 2 corners, even though it was by accident. I let him pass and all that. And then in the last lap, it was the very last lap, that's where he had that crash, where the other guy's kind of in the middle of the track or towards the right side. And he crashed into him, and when I saw it, I was like, yeah, man, I was kind of cheering for him because he did such a good race, the guy. Yeah, it was unfortunate for him. It was good for me. I ended up winning, but I gotta admit, if he didn't have that crash, he would have won the race, no problem. So he deserved to win. Unfortunately, he didn't. I got the win. But that's just how racing is. Just like soccer and other sports, mistakes happen. I've actually lost races on ACC, even GT races online by doing mistakes like that. You smash into something or someone, you crash, you lose your spot, your first place or whatever, and you lose. And that happened. And the last laps are always the ones where you get more pressure because you're like, you know, you're either trying to keep your first place spot or you're trying to catch up to whoever's in first or second. And, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Most times it doesn't, unless you're like a legend. 7:13, 7:14, okay, 7:15. All right, 7 minutes 15, let's break here. All right, 7 minutes 15 with this RX7. That pretty much sums it up for this video. I really enjoy the car. It's super fun, and especially without any traction control on, I think it really makes it more fun to drive. But yeah, that is it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry about me ranting about the Canadian government, but it is true. That's how I feel. And I really want people to get their jobs back. I really want people to, get their lives back in order, and the world should get better at some point. Vaccinations are going now, so I'm just hoping things get back to normal. A lot of you probably have the same problem, so you'll understand where I'm coming from. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.